Welcome to this video on getting started with input table actions in Sigma. In previous videos, we talked about input tables, controls, and basic actions. If you're new to any of those topics, be sure to check them out first. This video will build on that foundation to show how we can use Sigma to let users add, update, and manage records in input tables. We will focus on the configuration of these action types, and in other videos, we'll cover more data application building concepts. First, let's cover the differences in the insert, update, and delete row actions. Insert will add a new row to an input table. Update will adjust or change a row's value in specified columns. And delete will remove that row. It's important to remember that all input table interactions are always being recorded in your warehouse regardless of what is seen in Sigma. This means that the historical log of who is performing adds, changes, and removals to input table data will always be available for tracking and compliance. These actions change what is surfaced to the end user through Sigma's interface. Before creating an insert row action, you will first need to make sure your input table columns match the columns you'd like to capture. Second, make sure you have something that is holding the values you'd like to capture. This could be something like a visual or a control element. And lastly, you will need something to trigger the insert row action. In my experience, this is most commonly a button, but it could be a visual or as the result of a control element value changing. Once your stage is set, click on the trigger element, go to the action panel, and add an insert row action. Make sure you have selected the correct input table to insert rows into. Then match up the sources for values such as controls or element columns. To learn more about these value source options, check out the other videos on actions. To update a row, we will follow a similar configuration path. However, the update row action requires a row ID to tell Sigma which row in the input table to update. Row IDs are system-generated columns in every input table. To tell Sigma which row to use, you can either create a control element to capture the row ID, or use an action variable or lookup formula to match up the row ID based on other values. Again, there's usually more than one way to accomplish your goal in Sigma, so adjust based on your specific scenario. Once the row ID is identified, specify which column should be updated and the source of the updated value. You can update as many columns as you'd like, and any values not specified in this configuration will stay the same in your table. Now, let's look at the delete row action. This only needs to specify which row ID to impact. Again, remember this is not deleting the row from your cloud warehouse, only telling Sigma to not surface that row to your end user. A couple of things to keep in mind with input table actions. First, regardless of what action you've configured, always make sure that the input table editing mode is what you'd like, draft or published. For more information on this concept, check out the input table video. Second, use action conditions to unlock even more flexibility by dynamically adapting interactions by clicking on the three-dot menu next to where I added the action. For example, preventing edits after the status changes to approved, showing custom messages, or triggering alternate workflows based on inputs. For more information on this concept, check out the action video. With insert, update, and delete row actions, your workbook moves beyond static reporting into a fully interactive environment. You can capture extra context from users, track detailed logs, or even build out approval workflows all in one place.